as I'm starting this brand, I'm starting to realize what things work and what things don't work, as I've, have been doing with my many years of content creation. But it's fun because I'm really seeing the lengths that me just being my authentic self stretch and go to. But anyways, in day 3, you're about to see a real shift because we're rolling this out. Like, I'm not playing anymore. If you don't resonate with the message, you just got to get on. But let's get going. So today, here we go. Affirmations. Every day my wealth and health increase. I am God's champion. I'm favored by the forces of nature. I'm aligned with my highest timeline, and everything flows effortlessly to me. I am paid to exist. All my businesses are successful, and I never make the wrong investment. Boom. So anyways, there you go. Say them back to yourself. Those are all you. You're me. I am you. I am you. You are me. And let's get into the video. Let's just start. So yeah, man. I'm having a great time doing this series because my consciousness overdrive was sort of like me getting back into the flow of really trusting self and being like, okay, I've been at this for years. I've manifested small things. I've manifested conversations with people. I even meditated once, right? I was working security, and I was by this stage, and I was basically, what the position was called was cup check. During cup check, it was really relaxing. There was a really cool bartender. He was really dope. And I would just chill there and sit there and be like, you know what? I should just manifest for something to happen. Now, one night where there was a band playing outside, like an artist playing outside and an artist playing inside, I sat there and I met that band and everything, but I sat there and I closed my eyes for a minute. Then I opened them and I said, you know what? I'm going to do candle meditation, which is one of the meditations that I recommend to people because candle meditation is so powerful. Candle meditation or single point meditation, they're technically the same exact thing because you're focusing on a single point. But the difference with candle meditation is you're able to, we'll get into that. That should be, maybe that's for another video, but essentially you're focusing on the single point. Let's keep it there because that's the focal point, funny enough. And I literally said, I don't know why, but I have this feeling that there's going to be a woman that needs my help. There's going to be like a woman or something, and she's just going to need me. She's going to come up to me. And originally I just don't know why I felt this. It felt something deeper, but I said, okay. And I let it go, right? But I said that this woman, right, was going to end up being like on my level or higher, right? And what's so funny is the hours before I came into work, my mindset was like, damn, when I think about my brother and my brother from another mother and all other types of spiritual people I've come across in my journey, it really feels like him and I are in like a sect of our own, like literally that this is a whole pantheon of different gods kind of learning that they're connected and we're just over in this kingdom. So I went into work with that mindset, funny enough, which is also why you got to understand it's what you focus on and put your attention and awareness to over your actual intrusive thoughts. Because sometimes I'll still get intrusive thoughts to this day where I'm like the only person that thinks the way I do. But so anyways, so this was beforehand. So I get there, I do the meditation, I'm thinking about the woman that'll need help. And then all of a sudden, right, I meet a coworker that I've never met before who ends up being spiritual. We end up, yapping, talking it up. We're talking about like curses, charms, things like that. I'm like, wow. And she was telling me about how like her ex tried to hex her and just a bunch of stuff. So we're yapping. And then, right, so I'm thinking, whoa, I even told her, I think I manifested you low key because she was asking me about my story or knowing how to deal with like people who try to place things on you or energy. And I was like, yeah, I actually do know how to deal with that. And so she goes to do her rounds and she leaves. It had to be like maybe 3 or 4 hours went by, maybe three maybe, that I did not see her. And I'm like, okay, so, I'm chilling. Like I wasn't looking for her, but I remember she wanted to come back to finish our conversation. But it didn't matter, right? Because then next, this woman comes in crying, right? And this, maybe I should call this when I actually realized I was like really, really creating reality. This woman comes in crying, like, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh snap, like, hope she's good. So I'm just staying, because I can't really move, but I'm hoping she's good. So I'm just keeping an eye on her. I'm watching her, just making sure, watching her in relation to other people. And, then she starts to like, literally, it's like magnetized. it's like she starts to slowly inch her way over to me, but like without like, you know, consciously knowing she's doing it. It's almost like subconscious. Funny enough, right? You know, because our subconscious is the thing that's creating. But she comes over and she's like, "Hey, can I just like stand here for a minute or cry here for a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I don't mind." So I think she takes a minute to like gather herself, and then she instantly goes, "I shouldn't even be crying like this. Like, you know, what's making me cry is so below me." And anyways, I can't go into all the details because the way I'm gonna remember it is a little bit wrong. I've told this story a lot, but essentially there was someone there that she had like this reoccurring like path with. But she knew in her mind, she was like, "I'm so spiritually advanced that this should be under me." And I was like, "Oh, she's spiritual? Okay. First level, hang on." But you know what I said is, funny enough, earlier in the day, I was talking about how I don't meet a lot of people who really understand like the importance of like why people talk about shadow work. I know there's certain creators, I laugh because Eric's one of them, who talks about, you know, you don't need to say you're under shadow work or things like this. But funny enough, all the things that you are doing in your life to like undo the programming is shadow work. You know, basically that darker side of yourself and accepting those parts of yourself that are perceived darker. But you know what I'm saying? Like the things that make you tick, the traumas. So she ends up telling me like, you know, she's very into that dark shit. She's not like all this flu fucking, you know, we start going into conversation like that. And I'm like, wow. And I end up telling her, "Yo, I think I literally said I was going to meet someone like you tonight. And here you are." And she said, "Yeah, you know, this is how it works, blah, blah, blah." And then what gets even crazier about that was she starts telling me about her business, and her husband is like, you know, a guy who owns like the Sky Rises in Austin, Texas. It's wild. And then, there's another dude that comes up who's in a wheelchair, and he's freaking awesome. I still have this video that he sent me. He told me never to stop, to keep doing the things that I'm doing. And he was in a wheelchair, and he talked about how he was having a plant medicine experience when he rolled up to us, and sitting here talking about like his spiritual experiences. And he said they both, I think, went out for coffee or something, and were talking about me and couldn't believe. Well, no, I can't remember if it was him by himself or both of them, but essentially the whole conversation was that they couldn't believe that like how young I was and how like advanced I was spiritually, because it's like people don't figure this out till later in life. But I'm like, honestly, just I don't know what it was. I've always felt like an outlier, always felt different, or always experienced reality different from everyone else and thought different. And still to this day, I mean, I am, and it's now really playing out to my benefit because I'm embodying the principles that I came into contact with. So anyways, the reason I tell that story is because you got to understand, when you're watching my channel or you're watching just any channel or everything, reality is actively being created from you. Now, there are people that know some shit, don't get me wrong. There are masters of their craft and history. But, you know, what I like to think about is like, look, I've got the eye of either Horus or Ra, I don't know. It's either one, you know, the eyes of me, because these archetypes these God archetypes are archetypes of our own energy. But I got the elements of the soul and everything, things that symbols that resonate with me. The outsider mark, this feathered dragon. And the reason I go to say that is because I've always been a person who pulls pieces from every single mythology. And that's kind of my philosophy on how working with the divine works. I'm not just under one, like, oh yeah, I follow the Egyptian gods and all that. And I, you know, but to the people who do that, you know, great for you. But I'm under the philosophy and the understanding of reality that it's really whatever works for you. And I'm really like an independent cosmic surfer, I would say it is, or that's the entity that I am or manifest as. And that's why I talk and move the way I do, because it's really like I've built my own kind of belief in connection to the divine. And, you know, I've had wild dreams that I'll talk about on this channel more, where it's like just crazy synchronistic dreams where I didn't have to be vegan or this or that to do this. And that's something I want to really plant into y'all. Funny enough, talking about vegan plants, plant into y'all when it comes to, you know, going among this journey or really unlocking your inner power, is do not get caught up in the trap that there's a certain spiritual system you need to learn. Understand what resonates with you, and then take that and go forward with it. If you feel like you need the Egyptian gods or the Egyptian deities or whatever, because that's, to me, this is my own personal experience, that is the true path of the enlightened and awakened. But the when it really gets really like locked in there is when you start to see the patterns in everything. I just found this amazing creator. I don't remember her name, but I just shared her on my other Instagram, my main one for gaming and stuff, and talking about metaphysics and gaming, where she talked about the periodic table and how the periodic table connects to codes that they use in language, in gematria, and she just connected all fields. And I'm like, yo, that's what happened to me when I first awakened. I met another dude like that named Tone. His channel is Life is But a Dream. Same thing. You're watching Hunger Games and you're watching Hunger Games or Divergent, and these shows or these revolutionary type shows that show you what reality is. Divergent was literally a bunch of different egos and basically that fit into certain categories that, you know, to not spoil too much, but to summarize, the main character ends up being divergent, which means you don't fit into any faction. And funny enough, there's a tree of life that ends up popping up within that show. I'm gonna make sure my camera isn't slipping, but there's a tree of life that ends up popping up in that in the, I think the second or the third movie. And essentially it was a program that these architects before the main character were like, we put this system in place to see which one of you would awaken. And it's like, you know, if people are saying the movie is bad or whatever, you know, good, you know, honestly good, because you're missing the message of what it was trying to tell you. It was trying to tell you, the watcher, that you're in that same sort of system where you just don't fit into any category. You kind of float outside of it, where you can relate with every aspect of people, you know. So anyways, the reason I say that is just because that to me is the true awakening, but that is even still a level one, because that was happening to me when I first awakened, where movies and stuff started to stick out, like Truman Show and all that, and they would come to me. I didn't go looking for them. It would just be like, some person would be like, you really need to watch the Truman Show. You really need to watch this show. Oh, look at this show. And then I'm watching, and my mind is already dissecting the movie and making it look like, oh, this is the story of the awakened one. Like, this is your story that you walked among this path, but it's told through the lens of whoever directed this movie and how they looked at it. That's why I say these people, these Hollywood executives and directors and stuff, definitely know when you see a movie like that that is dropping hints, even things like Marvel, they know. They know to some degree. They're either channeling it or they just straight up know what they're doing. Especially the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie was 100% like in the know, like hands down. So anyways, I say all this to say this. When you're watching the series, keep all these beginning videos in mind when I start really going crazy on the self-concept, because I'm not playing with the fact that you are God and I am God and we are gods, and we are consistently always attracting our reality depending on our words. Your words are powerful, your thoughts are powerful, your belief is powerful. Now, belief, I've ever heard a creator say, you don't have beliefs because belief is like you have to believe in a lie, you want to have to believe it. True. So I'll say this for a better term, even though I'm not specific on wordplay, is you want to change everything you've got into a knowing. Like, you don't believe you know how to tie your shoes, you just know how to tie your shoes, or you know how to eat and sustain your body, right? Well, that's where you want to get with a lot of your spiritual knowledge. No matter what place it comes from, you know, always be open to receiving new perspectives, but always keep your knowing the strongest. Because if you've gone through experiences that proved certain things you were testing, like your little hypothesis, your little scientific alchemization, and you prove it to be true, you now know that that is to be true. Don't second guess yourself, because that's actually something that stopped me in a lot of manifestation. I've manifested large things in the past where I'll still experience lag among the years because I'm getting caught up in the ego, which is letting the ego, the left side, know what you're doing, the logical side of your mind, where it's like, did I really do that? Or was it chance? Or was it this? Or was it that? Or I even had a partner in my life that convinced me that it was someone outside of myself that brought this opportunity to me. But that's how God does things. God can put people in your life that just decide to invest in you and be like, you know what? $10,000. You know what? This. Because it's all connected. And how they've been blessed by God in their life, they decide that now, like, God is telling them to bless you, and that's how it works, because we're all connected. That's why you need to have the highest self-concept of yourself and not go outside of yourself for any validation from anyone else, and reality will play out. So yeah, man, I've had so many wild experiences that I'll talk about among this journey. Now I'll try to simplify it and just tell it in the best way I can. But you are God. Do not let anyone tell you you are not gods. You are gods. You are God having a dream, and we're all separate. So really use it, because you know why I love this too? Understanding that I'm one with Source, and I'm one with God, and you know I am God just living through this character. Even Rel Crumbs or Lunar was lost in many names I take on. It helps me realize, like, I don't really have judgments towards the way other beings and souls choose to live their life. You know, I'll call out things that are actually deplorable on a human morality level, but at the end of the day, it's just like I'm past that good and evil. Like, I don't even think this good and evil are this two sides of the same coin. It's just like we're just having an experience, and things happen within this experience that are crazy. But be careful about that digital ID. Anyways, much love as always. Thank you guys for tapping into the frequency. I say this on my main channel, but it's just me, so I might as well just say it everywhere I go, because you guys are channeling. You guys are tapping into a channel, the channel of Rel Crumbs. Funny enough, that YouTube, they're called YouTube channels. YouTube, focus in a tube. See, etymology, man, wordplay. But anyways, love y'all. I'm out. And I don't know, remember your God, remember you're locked in, remember we are freaking Source. We're having an experience. Create videos, be a creator, don't be too much of a consumer, and make your dreams come true. And I don't know, support the people around you, love the people around you, be kind, be strong. This system is crazy. I already know, because I went through it when I awakened and I got called crazy, and I don't give a fuck anymore. So love y'all. I'm out.